This is TWiT.
I think we're about a month away, roughly, from an Apple event. Loop Insight. Is Marcus working for Loop now? The Loop now? I don't know. Marquez Brownlee, the 2019 iPhone 10 models. Is this? Oh, I guess they're talking about his video. I get it. Yeah,
we talked about that. Yeah, you know, the usual sources sent out all the.
Oh, this is that. Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
never mind.
Yeah,
forget about it.
The rumor from today was from a bunch of analysts who said that the iPhone will have 512 gigabytes of storage. It'll be compatible with iPad, with Apple Pencil, and the LCD version will be $699.
$699 is a good price. The LCD, the small LCD version.
It's the exact same price as the iPhone 8 is right now, which makes exactly all the sense in the world.
Oh, okay. The Pencil's new. We didn't know that, but that would be nice. 512 gigs of storage, maybe because the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 came out with for $1,250 bucks, a 512 gigs device.
What usually happens is that over time, because NAND flash is like this very volatile commodity, and sometimes it's really scarce and expensive, and sometimes it's not. And sometimes they start making newer versions that are actually cheaper to buy than the smaller, older versions. And because I think Apple still gets a lot of it from Samsung anyway, they would probably have made these decisions at similar times months and months ago.
Right.
Yeah. Also, it's a lot of people are not going to be interested in the cheapest one of whatever it is. So if you give them an opportunity to give them more money,
yes,
whether there's a whole lot of advantage to the new feature, the added features or not, that's always a good thing. I will say myself that if I will always do myself, and I will always advocate. However much, if you were budgeting $800 for whatever the next phone was, anticipating a price increase, and you're, oh my God, it's only, they actually dropped the price. It's only $650. I'm still going to spend that $800. I'm going to buy as much storage as I possibly can. So
they do make a
if it's a trick, it works for me.
They do make a 0.5 terabyte iPad Pro. We don't know how well that sells. It's a little different with an iPad, I guess.
Well, it's a lot different because this is something that even Apple is promoting as why you don't even need it. It is so suitable as a computer that we're not even going to call it a computer because it's better than a computer.
Got it.
It's a more interesting question when you talk about things like the new Samsung Galaxy Note, where it's like, wow, here is a device with I'm looking at all the stuff that my 2-year-old MacBook has and noticing that this phone kind of smokes it in almost every category, and you can still plug it directly into HDMI and get a desktop interface for all this sort of stuff.
Are you tempted?
I'm not tempted because I personally just don't like Samsung as a primary device, and not when Google has their own Pixel phones out there. I think there's a lot of added value to the Pixel brand.
The Note 9 starts at $1,000, but for $1,250 you can get 512 gigs internal storage. In both cases, you have a micro SD card slot, so you could add another 512.
512.
Actually,
internal storage is actually higher than that, isn't it?
Internal 512. Well, the big one is at 512, so a terabyte total. Right. The little one is 128, 512, which seems enough to me. And actually, it's not technically limited to 512. That's just the biggest micro SD card Samsung currently makes. But the spec would support 2 terabytes, so you could go even bigger if you really wanted to store that much on your phone. Seems to me, I may be crazy, but 64 gigs is enough for a phone.
No, well, not when you consider that now you've got iPhones shooting really wonderful 4K video.
True.
So instead of having to, here's your 8 minutes of film. Now what 12 apps do you want to destroy to get another 30 seconds? It must be cool to have the same attitude towards video that you have towards photos, where I never even bother removing photos from my phone because JPEGs just don't take that much room, and there's such an ungodly amount of space. It's almost pointless to even waste the time.
So I bought, when I bought the iPhone 10, of course, I bought the 256 gig model because you got to have more storage. But I have 170 gigs left. So, and I haven't used a whole lot. Oh, AT&T's calling me. Should I answer? Probably not. I'll just put that away. It's odd, isn't it, that AT&T would call right when I show my phone on the air? I think that's a spoofed number, maybe. Here's another rumor from, I guess, Apple Insider. No, this is from the Chinese language site Zhongdian. All three 2018 iPhones are going to support wireless charging. That wouldn't be a surprise, right? That means just glass back, right?
Yeah.
AirPower Mat to cost $150 whenever it's available.
Yeah, that's a tough price, I think. You have to given that.
I don't think it's a tough price. You know why? Because there's all these other choices already. Anybody who really wants a wireless charging, even if it has three, has got one. The only people who are going to buy it are people who are in an Apple store saying, "Oh, look, the Apple one," and they'll buy it at any price.
It's a convenience thing to be able to take one thing with you that charges all three. So they're
and presumably they're going to have the chargeable AirPods packet when they ship that. So you'd have to buy that too, by the way. $150 for the pad, and if you want to charge your AirPods. Although, here's the good news, and I wonder what this means. You can now get AirPods at Best Buy for $140. They're in plentiful supply, apparently. Does that mean? I'll throw this in. With for no additional charge. MacBooks. Some MacBooks are now sold out at Best Buy. Does this mean new MacBooks, new AirPods this fall?
Usually one of the signs, when the angel opened the seventh seal of the Apple event, there was silence in Best Buy.
The i5 with 512 gigs of storage out of stock in rose gold, space gray, and gold. The base rose gold model with 256 gigs. So they're not getting resupplied, I guess. Apple Store still has plenty, I presume. The plenitude of AirPods doesn't necessarily mean there'll be a new AirPod. But the $140 price is low.
And the AirPods themselves aren't probably may not change. Okay. Walking that back real quick.
He knows nothing. He says nothing. Pay no attention. This is not the vector you're looking for.
And I have to say, I have zero. I'm usually interested in new things. The wireless charging, I don't even like charging my watch that way because it always pops off.
You have to wireless charge.
I look over.
Watch.
You have to. I know. I just don't like it. Oh. I know that I have to, and I know that they've saved some space, but I would much rather just plug it in with a lightning. Yeah, I wish there was a little lightning port there that I could use because I would never use the magnetic one again because it's always somewhere on my desk, and then I look over thinking my watch was charged, and it ends up not being charged. It popped off a little bit, and when I'm traveling, I have a bunch of little lightning cables, and I just plug them all in, and I just don't think it's not something I'm waiting for.
I'm sorry, it's not Best Buy, it's Costco for $140. And if you don't have a Costco membership, you can get them on Amazon for $144.98.
And admittedly, I wasn't waiting for these either because I was like, I need cables. But now that I've fully gotten used to them, now the cables you plug your headphones in and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a pain in the neck. This cable is like this cable that I've had wrapped around me in some way since I was like 14 years old is now this thing that is like, oh my gosh, this is getting caught on everything. I don't know how I lived this way.
If I hadn't lost 2 pairs of AirPods now, I would be tempted. But I'm at my limit. I'm at my limit.